Hi friends, today is part 2 of my moving video. So if you didn't watch my video from last week, I am moving into a new house called the Apple Orchard House, and I asked for your questions, and wow, I got a lot more than I thought, and I'm very glad that I decided to do a Q&A because there's a lot of confusion, and that's my fault because I will answer some questions on my Instagram and on my YouTube, and so there's a bit of a disconnect and just a lot of confusion in general. So I'm hoping that this video will clear everything up and you'll be able to know what's happening to my old house, the 60s house, and everything you need to know about my new Apple Orchard house. Okay, let's get started. I have a lot of questions to go through and I wrote them all down. So Amanda Cowgirl asks a few questions about whether Callie, who's my former wife, will be moving with me since I said the word we in the video. And she also asked if we're going to remain friends. And when I was editing my video last week, I noticed that I said we, and I was like, oh, I wish I could change that. But I said we because at the time when Callie and I were trying to figure out a solution for housing, we were both open to moving out of the house. But the point is, we don't want to move in together. We don't want to live together anymore. We want that to be over. So because we were both open to it, I ended up being the one to move. And so Callie is going to stay in this house and I am moving out. And I really hope that we remain friends for a very long time, hopefully forever, who knows, but we definitely have a great relationship as friends. And I mean, we've been together for like 10 years, or we've known each other for 10 years. And so at this point, she just feels like family to me. And so we just have a very important relationship. We both want the best for each other. And with me moving out, we'll both be able to move on with our lives and date new people, and we fully support each other in doing that. By the way, I'm going in the order of we're talking about the old house first, then we're going to talk about the moving process, and then we're going to talk about the new house. Okay, this next question is where there was a lot of confusion. And so like 2 weeks ago, I didn't ask me anything on Instagram, and someone asked me how I bought a house by myself, and I answered about my house buying process. And so a lot of people said, I thought that you owned this house by yourself. So why is there a problem? Like, if I bought it by myself, why is Callie getting the house? And that is not what happened. So I did buy a house by myself, but it's not this one. It's not the 60s house. I bought a house before this one, and it's a completely different house. It was a smaller house that I bought when I was 20 years old, and I bought that by myself with my own down payment, and that is the one that I think people are confusing it with. And I owned that house for 2 years, and then I sold it, and I sold it for a profit because it was like in 2012, so there was a bit of, a downturn with the housing market, and so it went up, and I sold it for a bit of a profit. And so I rolled the down payment from that house with the equity from the sale into this house. And then Callie and I, once we bought this house, we had been dating for 3 years at that point. And so we knew we were going to get married, and Callie put in some of her savings into the down payment of this house as well. And so both of our names were on this mortgage, and we both put money into this house. So I do not own the 60s house by myself. It is joint. And even if I did own the house by myself, I wouldn't be like, this is my house, find your own place. That's not the type of divorce process we're going through, I guess. We both want the best for each other, and so we're taking our time to figure out what is the best solution for each of us. On that note, there were a few people that said negative things about Callie because she was my ex, and also saying like, am I getting screwed over because I'm not going to have this house anymore? And so I don't normally like to talk about that kind of negative stuff, but I'm just going to talk about it because I will not tolerate anybody saying anything negative about Callie. She's a very good person. Just because she's my ex, it does not mean that I want anyone to dislike her. I don't dislike her. I hope that we're friends forever. We just didn't work out. We want different things in life, and that is totally okay and normal. And so I'm not okay with anybody saying anything negative about Callie. And then as far as the screwing over thing is concerned, I definitely want to talk about that because that is not happening whatsoever. The financial side of this stuff is very 50-50. We did a spreadsheet where we figured out all of our financial stuff, like all of our assets, to divide it up as fairly as possible. And we both feel good about it, and it is very fair. I am very happy with it, and so is Callie. And I understand why people would think that I'm being screwed over because I'm not going to have the house anymore, but the fact is that I am happy not having this house anymore. It is a relief. And I'm sure that that is probably really weird to hear because I do love my house. But the thing is, this house comes with a lot of other things. For instance, it comes with 2 acres of land that you have to mow. And I don't like to mow the lawn at all. It takes like 3 hours to do. And it's just not my vibe, not what I'm looking to do with my free time. Also, I don't really like to snowblow. If there's a giant branch on the roof, I have no interest in climbing up on the roof and fixing it. It's just too scary for me. So I don't even want the house, really. If it's up to me and it's by myself, I'm not interested. I bought this house knowing that it would be with a partner, and that's not what's happening anymore. Okay, I hope that that's the end of anything negative. I think it's all positive from here. So Audrey Bones asks, will I have to split my vintage finds or am I taking most of it with me? So we are splitting the vintage items, but I would say I'm probably getting 80% of it and Callie's getting 20%. And the reason why is because Callie has a different style than me. So she doesn't want a lot of the stuff that I like, which is great. And for ever since we figured out that we were getting a divorce, we have spent like the past year buying her stuff for her theme that she wants in this house. And so she already has, I showed you half of my basement in my basement declutter video. And that is my decor side. There's another half of my basement that is full of stuff from Callie because she already has like chairs and she has a dining room table and all kinds of stuff that she is waiting to put up here once I get all my stuff out. So she's getting some of the stuff. The biggest thing and the hardest thing that we're going to have to split is the vintage Halloween and vintage Christmas stuff because we both love that. And I did give her some things when I was putting away Christmas and Halloween items this past season. I did give her some things already, but when Halloween and Christmas come again this year, when I unpack the items, we're going to have to split stuff. Maria Loves This asks, what's your advice when downsizing when you're a big vintage collector? So that is my big problem right now. I am having to downsize. And so my biggest piece of advice is what I was doing at the beginning of the year, which was declutter, declutter, declutter. I didn't know that I was going to be moving in May. I just knew that at some point we would be moving out, and so it'd probably be a good idea to declutter. Plus, I was incredibly stressed out with the amount of stuff that I had, and I was at a place where I really wanted to declutter my stuff. So declutter every single corner, every single spot of your house, hold every item, and decide whether you need it. And you need to have a certain mindset when you do this. So the mindset that I had was I would rather have fewer things that I love than a lot of things that I sort of love. And so I would keep that mindset in my head while I was holding these items. And I would say, would I rather have this piece or would I rather have, the peace and tranquility of having a nicer house with less stuff? And if the item was like, it's not that amazing, then out it goes. I got rid of so much stuff. I mean, if you watch any of my declutter series, you will see how much stuff I got rid of. And so it helped a ton that when I actually figured out that I was going to move, that I'd already done that and I only had like a few more spaces to do. But I have I would say I probably got rid of like 50% of my stuff. But I have not moved into my smaller space yet, and so I hope that I will be able to give better and more comprehensive advice once I'm actually in a smaller space. Maria also asked if I have any tips on how to afford a mortgaged home and then the second place that I'm moving to. And so that is not what we're doing. Like I said, we're splitting our finances, and so Callie will be paying for the mortgage herself, and I will be paying for my place myself. Callie has a salary job, and so she can afford a mortgage, no problem. I do not. So I work freelance, and what I get paid weekly totally varies, which is not great for when you want to have a mortgage. I wasn't really interested in having this mortgage, especially because the mortgage on this house is a 15-year, which means that the amount that you have to pay is higher. And so it works out for Callie, and it works out for me that I'm leaving. So I'm not paying anything towards the 60s house anymore, and Callie is not paying anything for where I'm moving to. When it comes to like specific financial details, like how we're splitting everything, that is getting a little too personal, and I really just want to keep that private. But I just need you guys to trust me that I have a total handle on my finances. I know what I'm doing, and I'm making sure that everything is fair for me. And so please just trust me on this. Nina Slice asks, I'm curious what you do for a living. And so that works out great after the last question. I make some money through ads that are on my blog, and then I also do affiliate links. So like on Instagram and on YouTube, when I say like I'll link things to eBay, that's an affiliate link. And so if you click that link to go to eBay and you buy something on eBay, whether it's the item that I link to or a completely different item, eBay will pay me a small percentage of that sale. You don't pay for anything, the company does. So I make commission that way, and then I also make money through ads on my YouTube channel. And so if there's ads and you watch them through, then I do get paid for that. And if it is a super long ad, I just want to say like some ads are like 15 minutes long. I think you just have to watch 30 seconds of it and then you can skip it. If it's like a 30-second ad and you skip that ad, then I don't get paid for it. If you want to support me or support other YouTube creators, the best way that you can do that is to watch at least 30 seconds of the ads that play. Besides that, I am a freelance writer for the website Only in Your State, which is really cool. It is a travel website, and there are state writers for all 50 states, and then they'll write about like small businesses and small towns and cool hiking trails. And I am the Michigan travel writer for Only in Your State, and so I write 7 articles a week about Michigan. And I also do the social media. I'm in charge of 7 different states that Only in Your State has their Instagram account. So I do that for them. And I will link below my freelance writing for Only in Your State if you're interested in any of those articles, especially if you want to travel, whether in Michigan or in any other state. Even before I worked for Only in Your State, I used that website all the time when I wanted to travel because you can find like the best antique stores on there. But the downside of that is all of that is like freelance. It's not steady pay whatsoever. And so now that I'm not going to be living with 2 incomes, it's just one, it's a lot harder to be the sole earner that doesn't have a steady income. And so like at Christmas time, I make a lot more income because sometimes I'll work with brands, and other times like I'll make a lot more money with affiliate links, but then like in January and February, I make a lot less. And it is kind of stressful. And so I'm kind of thinking about whether I should just get a regular job. A remote job would be really cool because then I could still do social media and YouTube channel on the side. So if you know of any cool remote jobs, let me know. Okay, now we're moving on to the moving section. So a few people asked me about the actual moving process, like if I'm gonna hire any movers, and what containers I'm using for moving. So no, I am not gonna hire movers. That is too expensive. I'm a big cheapskate. But I am instead of doing the absolute cheapest option, which is like renting a U-Haul truck, I am getting a pod this time. And so far it's been awesome. Because then you can slowly move your stuff into the pod and really take your time, which has been very helpful. I don't really want to do the thing where you panic and you have to pack everything in a truck all in one day by yourself, like with a U-Haul truck. I mean, it is cheaper, but you got to unpack everything the same day too. It's very, very stressful. And so I think a pod is the right solution without spending a ton of money. And the containers, I mostly just use plain boxes. Callie works at a place where she gets a lot of free boxes, so that's what we're using. I am using clear bins when I can. Shelby Larkin says, I'm hoping to buy my first place this year, and I would love to know about your thrift shopping list for stocking a new home. So Shelby, for one, I am so excited for you. That is awesome. You did specifically say, I hope to buy my first place. So I'm assuming you're going to buy a house, where instead I am moving into a rental, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. So my list might be a bit different than you, but my thrift list mostly is just a lot of kitchen essentials, like a can opener, muffin tins, like I mentioned before. I need like a big Tupperware to hold cupcakes. I mean, just like boring stuff like that, I guess. I want a popcorn maker because I'm not going to buy a new popcorn maker over my dead body. I feel like whenever I'm at thrift stores, I always see popcorn makers, so I'm going to get one there. Something I always buy though is clear storage bins. And so whether you are moving into a house or you're downsizing like me, I think buying clear storage bins is always a great idea. I think they're cheaper than when you buy them at the store. I looked it up before this video, and Target sells them for $7. I always find them for $4 at thrift stores. And so if you're buying 10 bins, that saves you 30 bucks. There are only certain things that I'm going to buy new, like a new vacuum cleaner, that kind of stuff. But otherwise, almost everything else is on the table for buying secondhand because half the time I like secondhand stuff better anyway, and it really saves you a lot of money. So any essential you can think of, consider getting it at the thrift store instead. Besides that, I don't know if this is your first house, I'm going to give you a tip that I wish that I knew with my first house, and that is when you move into a new house that's vacant, a lot of times there are not curtains, and so you move in and it's nighttime and everyone can see in your house, and you're like, oh dang, I need to hurry up and get curtains. And curtains, when I first bought a house, I was like, I cannot believe how expensive these are. And like when you go to Target, you buy one curtain panel. You need two, and so it's just super expensive. Like, I mean, this room I would need to buy 4 curtain panels. If there's a certain type of curtain you like, start thrifting for that. If you can sew or if you're creative or crafty at all, I would suggest shopping for sheets because there's tons of sheets. They're very cheap. And so that's what I was doing before. I have tons of sheets now. But I plan on using vintage sheets as curtains in every room. And I'm going to use curtain clips. I'll show a picture of curtain clips. So I will link those below. I have some already, but I'm planning on buying a huge pack of them, more of them, so that I can hang all my curtains this way because they're really nice. They're very easy, and then you can switch out your curtains whenever you want. And I'm hoping that I won't have to sew any of them because I hate sewing curtains. The next thing would be rugs. That is another very expensive thing, and you might need it pretty darn quick depending on if you buy a house that has like all wood floors. I do not buy new rugs like ever. I love buying vintage rugs, and so you can look for, I mean, thrifted rugs are awesome. I haven't had like any luck finding rugs at thrift stores that I like. So instead what I do is I buy them on eBay and on Etsy. I have a really awesome Etsy shop that I will link to if you want to shop for cheap vintage rugs. And I just bought a cheap one on eBay, so I will link to eBay as well if you want to buy a rug on there. I think I paid like 50 bucks for it, and it is so cute, and I cannot wait to put it in my new house. I said I was done with the negativity, but I did get a comment that was, who goes thrifting when they're packing up and moving? And my answer is a person who's going through a divorce and has to split all their items and needs to buy more essentials. So someone, like when you asked if I'm splitting the vintage items, sort of, but I'm really splitting all of our housewares. So like I'm getting the crock pot, Callie's getting the pots and pans, that kind of stuff. And so we need 2 sets of everything, 2 can openers. Callie's getting the popcorn maker, I need one, that kind of stuff. So if you're just, you're moving from one place to another, you probably don't have to buy all those essentials, but that is something that you have to do when you go through a divorce and you're splitting everything up. It totally sucks. And I thought I had everything that I needed, but I don't. And so that's why I'm thrifting. Okay, multiple people asked if I am buying or renting, and my answer is that I am renting, and I am very excited about it. It makes a lot of sense for me, and I'm going to share the whole story of who I'm renting from when I do my new house tour, because it is a very nice story. It's a very special story. It's a long story, and so I'm not doing it in this one, but I do want to share why I'm renting. And I think renting just gets a bad rep, and everybody thinks that owning is the best thing that you can do. And I have lived in 3 crummy apartments. I also rented a single room in a person's house that they owned, and I've owned 2 houses, so I feel like I can speak on the benefits of both and the negatives of both. And renting is actually really awesome. And so the reason why I'm very excited to rent is because I don't have to worry about mowing the lawn. I don't have to worry about shoveling snow or if something breaks, it is not up to me. There is a huge additional cost to owning a house. And when you first buy a house, you have to like buy a lawnmower and all kinds of stuff. You have to buy shovels. I mean, things that you would never even think of that are very expensive. And when something breaks, like your stove or something floods, it's on you. But when you rent, you don't have to worry about that. And it gives a lot of peace of mind. But then really, really nice thing is I get to live in a place that basically looks just like a house. I mean, a lot of you asked me if I was buying it because it looks like a regular house. And I'm really excited about it because I can put the amount of work I want to into it. But I also don't have to. And it is the perfect solution for me because I really didn't want to live in a crummy apartment again. You know, there's some places where you can live, and if you have the amount of money, you can live in a really nice apartment. The apartments that I can afford are not the nicest. And so I'm very, very grateful that I found the perfect solution for me. And I will share those details in a future video because I want everyone, like if anyone else is in the situation that I'm in, I want to share how I figured out a good place for me to live so that you can hopefully not live in a crummy apartment either. No judgment if you live in an apartment. Some apartments are awesome, and also you gotta do what you gotta do. I've lived in plenty of apartments. I didn't like it, but I had to do it, and that's okay. Bridget asks, will I decorate before I move in? No, but the house is pretty dirty, and the former owner's belongings are still in it, which is very exciting for me as a person who loves picking through vintage stuff. So I'm excited to sort through those items and see what I can find. So that'll be cool. And I hopefully get to do that before I move in. Laura asks, oh, we're moving on to the new house. So Laura asks, what will be the first house decorating project? The sunroom, I think, is going to be the first thing that I decorate because it will take very little effort to decorate that. I have a flower power glider patio set with a chair as well, and that's going to go in there. And then if you watched my valuable vintage items video, I showed these like blow mold string lights that I have and these flower lights, and those are vintage and so cool. And I knew that one day I would have the perfect place for them, and I pictured it being a vintage trailer, but it turns out it's going to be an adorable screened-in porch, and I cannot wait to hang those. And then I'm going to consider the sunroom done for a while. So that's going to be my first job. Claire asks, will I be doing any remodeling? No, I will not be. But the person that I am renting it from, before I'm moving in, there was not great things in the house. For instance, the bathroom was in really rough shape. It had gross carpet. Ugh, some vintage things are cool. Carpet in the bathroom is not one of them, at least not for me. So he switched that out to linoleum after I told him the benefits of linoleum. And then he also changed out the shower setup because it was broken. So he's doing a little bit of remodeling before then. But there are a few things that I'm going to change to make them look cuter, so we'll have to see about that. Madam Mom asks, am I still living in the lovely Lake Michigan area? I love Lake Michigan, but my answer is yes, I'm still living in the area, but I am moving somewhere else. I am not going to say what city I'm living in for privacy reasons. I felt like that was a big mistake that I did, talking all about where I live, and now that I'm getting the opportunity to move to a different city, I am not going to share where that is. I hope that you will respect my privacy and understand why I am doing that, but I'm still in the Lake Michigan area. Elise Berry asks, what room are you most excited about renovating or decorating in your new house? It is so hard for me to choose. I guess I would answer the kitchen because it just looks so drab right now. It needs a big boost, and I'm so excited. I don't think it will take a lot of effort to give it that boost, and I can't wait to make it look cute. And also, I'm just super excited to have my own kitchen. I'm the person that gets to bake in there. I'm the person cleaning, like it's only me, and I cannot wait for that experience. Destiny Staples asks if I'll be able to paint my new place, and the answer is sort of. So I already did get permission to make the place look better because the person I'm renting from trusts my decorating ability. which is really awesome. And I did get permission already to paint at least one thing. Christy Allen asks, have you thought about making an Amazon list for your fans so that they can show support for you and send you housewarming gifts? No, I had not thought of that, and that is the sweetest thing in the whole world. There were a few people that suggested that. I only named Christy, but there were a few people that did suggest that also, and thank you for that. That is so nice. I do have people that ask to send me vintage stuff often, and the thing is, I have so much vintage stuff, and now the thing that I need is like new boring stuff, like pots and pans. And so, I am going to make an Amazon wish list. I've never done that before. And so I will link it below with a few things that would be super helpful. If you have any desire to send me a housewarming gift, that is the nicest thing in the world. And please feel no obligation to do that. Thank you for suggesting it anyway. I have no idea if I will get any housewarming gifts, but if I do, I will definitely unbox them in my video, and I will thank you by name if you do that. So, but either way, that was very sweet of you to suggest, and thank you to all of you for caring about me at all. Palm88Palm asks, what's your design theme for your new house? And I saved this question because I'm so excited about it. As a lot of you noticed, there is a boatload of wood paneling. There's a lot. And so what does that mean? That means we're going groovy 70s, baby. I'm so excited. I get to fully embrace the 70s. So it is going to be quite different from how I'm decorating now. If you watched my bedroom tour, that's going to be more of the vibe. We're going to go with lots of flower power and a big boost of color because wood paneling has never really been my dream, but it is now going to be my reality, and so I am going to just embrace it as it is. I will explain a lot more about the wood paneling when I do my tour of the house because it has a really cool story, but we're gonna save it for that video. But yeah, 70s all the way. That is it for my Q&A. I hope that cleared things up. And I hope this got you excited about the new place I'm going to, my apple orchard house. My next video is going to be saying goodbye to my 60s house. It's going to be showing all the quirks of the house, and I'm excited to film that. I also hope I don't cry. We'll see. But then the next video hopefully will be the tour of my new place. So stick around for that. Subscribe to my channel if you feel so inclined. And if you leave any comments or like it, that helps me out a lot. And thank you for all the support about my move. I was very nervous about telling you, and it went so well. My video last week was by far my most watched video I've ever had, and that was just really rewarding. Sometimes I feel really down about myself and what I'm doing, and especially YouTube, and so it meant a lot that you guys watched that. I don't know why I'm crying, but thank you so much for caring about me. Anyway, you're the best. I love all of you. Bye.